Are we ready, Ms. Dora?
We're ready.
Okay. Let's mark the time and let's call this meeting to order for the Virtual Community Services Community Meeting. It's September 21st, 2020. Can we have a roll call to determine quorum, for favor?
Chair Manuel J. Martinez,
Present?
Counselor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
Present.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
Honored to be here.
Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the agenda in front of us. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, sir.
May I have a second?
I second.
May we have a roll call, please?
Chair Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion?
Counselor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
For the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
For the motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Thank you. The motion carries. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to the approval of service committee meeting minutes for August 17th.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 17th, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, do I have a second?
Second, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and we have a vote, a roll call vote, please,
Chair Manuel J. Martinez,
for the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
For the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
For the motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Motion carries. Do we have any committee member comments at this time? Councilor Martinez?
First of all, just thanking the staff, especially the cooks at the Beatrice Martinez Center. I've had a lot of very positive feedback from different people in the community that are taking advantage of going to go pick up their lunch, and the feedback has been excellent, that they're very pleased with the value that they're receiving for their money, and they're very pleased with the food itself. So we're very happy that we're able to do that and provide that service to people that are elderly or people that are not cooks and need to get over there and get some nutrition in the day. So we certainly appreciate Dora sending the menu and spreading that out throughout the community as much as I can to different people. And like I said, a lot of people are very pleased with it and taking advantage. So we certainly thank the cooks and the staff and Dora and her staff.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilor Valdez?
Yes, I want to give kudos to Dora and Gabriela, who had a drive-in movie at the Senior Stroke Center on Saturday night. I wish there would have been more people in attendance because it was fantastic. It's a perfect family night, clean, fun. You stay in your car, social distance. They come and give you popcorn. And that night they gave us macaroni and cheese. That was kind of strange, but it was lovely. And they had a concession stand that was so affordable, so affordable. They had all the snacks from a drive-in theater. They had dill pickles, they had cotton candy, snow cones, hot dogs, and it's a great family evening, a great way to spend the evening with your family. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank the community services team as a whole. Thank you all for your hard work day in and day out, and just keep on moving forward. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next matters from the chair. I just want to echo Councilor Valdez. That was a great night. I was, I think right behind you there, Councilor Valdez. A beautiful movie for those that missed it. It was nice to see Home Alone on the big screen and get you ready thinking about Christmas. And it was great. Hot dogs were fantastic. What can we say? So thank you, Mr. Frost, and of course Dora, and of course Gabriela, and everybody that was out there. I know Gabriela's son was also one of the ones. There's a bunch of little kids that were doing the running back and forth to the cars with the popcorn. And just want to thank all you guys for everything you guys did. Dora, fantastic job. Mr. Frost as well. Thank you guys. You guys are doing great. It's nice to see everything that's going on in the community. Again, I don't know if you've noticed, of course, there are a lot of rocks being placed all over the place, colored rocks. I don't know if any of you have participated in them at all. We've actually painted a few here at our house. Ah, there we go. There's one right there. Nice. So I encourage everyone. It's a nice little way of getting out in the community and searching for some rocks. It's a lot of fun. So, but thank you guys for all your hard work. So we're going to move on to recommendations for items for full council. And that's going to be the Beatrice Martinez Senior Center ICIP. Ms. Dora, can you please?
Good evening, Chair, members of the council. Thank you, and thank you guys for joining us on that movie. Everybody was so happy to be able to have that movie as a drive-in, and the children really enjoyed it very much. We are thinking of doing a second one this Friday, so we're trying to put that together. So I'll go ahead with the ICIP. The ICIP is for the Beatrice Martinez Senior Center. We have updated it to join in with the applications that are due now in October. So those have been done. They are on Diane's desk with for the 7 projects that we have. The first one will be the renovations of the senior center, and on the bottom, as you can see, it'll explain a little bit what we want to do with that money. So with this first one, we want to re-roof our ceiling and redo the roof and the ceiling because it leaks. We want to redo the dining area, the kitchen, the Zumba room, as far as the floors, and we want to touch up on the stage as well. It has a few edges there that are getting pretty sharp. The carpet's already worn out, so it needs a new flooring. And just the floor is getting pretty old as well. It's kind of lifting already. So the kitchen needs a few things like the clearance. And it's a 36-inch clearance for the circuit box right now. And we don't have that space. So we kind of have to think about how we're going to do that one. The second project we want is the equipment. Our equipment now in the kitchen is pretty old and falling apart already. So hopefully with some of that money, we can replace a lot of the old stuff that we have there. Our third one would be our vehicles. They already outlived the span, and they're still hanging on there. But they are in much need of replacing. The fourth project we have is the renovations for the facility of the stroke center. As you know that we have a small gym there, and a lot of the machines as well have outlived their life and are trying to hang on as well. We need to put in a shower and some locker rooms and try and get rid of the space of the small hot tub that we have there that we are not able to use right now. The fifth one would be to upgrade the video, the audio, and security system, both the senior center and the stroke center, with some equipment on that. We follow that with the renovation of the parking lots. We will be starting the parking lots hopefully by the end of this year. We did get the $150,000 to upgrade our parking lots to ADA compatibilities. So we'll start with that money first, but we are in need of bigger parking lots and some upgrades. The last but not least is the storage that we have, the large swimming pool, and we want to kind of renovate that and fill it in, make a parking lot for the gym use on that side, and the current parking lot, leave it for the staff. And hopefully we can get some of this money this year with the legislature. So we want to get you guys' approval to pass this on to our full council and hopefully get some money to do all the much needed renovations that this place needs. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Any
Mhm.
questions? Can we,
Chairman Martinez, this is already an item on the full agenda for tomorrow night's meeting. Is it necessary to go through the motion to approve, or should we just accept it as it is?
I think now if we do have any questions, now's the time to ask. And I think that if we have to, we could pull it from the tomorrow night's meeting if it does not pass tonight, ma'am.
Oh,
But maybe what we can do, start with a motion to approve for any questions, and we can go from there.
I'll make the motion just for the formality because I did see it on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, now let's go ahead and that's Councilor Martinez, go right ahead.
I just had one question, Dora. Do you know when the last time the stroke center was roofed?
I think it was in 2008, I believe. It was,
2008.
it was actually patched. It wasn't when it was roofed. Yeah, they just kind of worked on it then.
Because I thought we had put a roof on that thing not that long ago. But if it's in need of a repair, absolutely. I think it's something that we need to take care of. But if it's leaking, I'm wondering if these are not issues that that have been caused by hail or by anything that would be covered by insurance. It's the only concern that I have.
Chair, members of the council, what I have been told with other roofers that came and checked it when I first started, which was 3 years ago, they checked it and they say that it was more than likely it's running because they couldn't find the leaks where it was, but most of them are by the skylights that it has. And if anything, they said it was probably either the metal that's shifting already or something that's, being worn out already. But that's about all that they had seen when they did work on it. I guess it was just the patching here and there. But when I first started, we had 3 leaks and now we're up to about 7 leaks.
I'll yield to Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar, Mayor Pro Tem, and ask him if he remembers funding a roof recently, because I have it in my memory. I'm not exactly sure when, but I thought that we re-roofed the whole center.
Mr. Chair, if I may, yes, I do recall repatching, but I don't quite remember about the roof, the actual full repair of the roof. I'm kind of uncertain right now at this time. It kind of sounds familiar, but I do recall the repatching more at this time. But yeah, I'm unsure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Valdez.
Those issues seem valid to me, and our seniors definitely need a safe place where they won't get wet. Just joking. And the parking lot, I really hate to see the swimming pool being filled and no longer in use. But I guess a parking lot that will allow the seniors to park in front of the building is a great idea. Thank you.
I believe that I do remember that when there's been a few years that they did do some patchwork. Are we talking about patchwork now as well, or are we talking about a full new roof being placed, being done, Dora?
Mr. Chair, members of the council, we're talking about a whole new roof. Being that the last inspection that the roofers came and did, they said it's gonna be pretty hard to even find where exactly the leaks are. And their recommendation was just to do the roof itself, being that there's more and more leaks coming up. And the inside of the building is, I don't know if all of you guys have gone in there, but there's vigas that are bare. And you could see all the vent itself of the AC and the heater where it goes through. It's pretty high and it's hard to keep clean. And the reason why I wanted to fix that is to cover it, because there is a lot of dust that accumulates there and it's hard for us to clean. And of course, it's all on top of all the tables. So it's best if it's covered.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any more questions, counselors?
I have a question, Chair Martinez.
Alrighty.
So you're talking about covering up the wood beams that are on the ceiling of the stroke center? That's what you're talking about?
No, in the dining room itself, and not in the stroke center, in the senior center itself, where we feed the people.
Wow, I think those beams are so beautiful. I know it's hard to keep them clean, but I really think they're beautiful.
Yeah, that was the only concern that they had given me as well, that, you know, collecting of the dust in there, even with the lift that we brought in to be able to clean what we could, it wouldn't pick us up all the way to the top of the roof to clean the top ones. We did as much as we could, you know, by cleaning what we could reach, but it wasn't all the way to the top, and they're pretty dusty. And it's pretty nasty up there. I would suggest maybe covering it somehow to, so that, you know, all that dust doesn't collect the way it does. I know that the Vigas look really nice and it's a really nice building, you know, but it's becoming a little bit of a hazard when we feed the people there and they're sitting down. I've gotten a lot of comments from the seniors when they go to eat there, you know, because you can see the dust up there.
Thanks, Dora. Anything else, counselors?
No, thank you, Dora.
You're welcome.
Mr. Frost, would you like to chime in on that, sir?
Actually, I will go back a few points regarding the filling in the swimming pool. Councilwoman, I'm 100% on board with you. I hate to see us do away with a swimming pool. I mean, we spent so much time and money putting it in, but after investigating it, the problem is both a lack of parking, yes, but also we just can't hire lifeguards. So we could have that pool full and operational, which is an expense that, you know, is one thing, but then also we can't keep lifeguards on board. So after hearing all of that and talking about it, I came around and got on board with the parking lot idea too. I just wanted to express that. I fully understand your sentiment. It seems awful to fill in a swimming pool, but really in our situation, I do believe it is the best use of the space.
Thank you.
I have to agree
Mr.
with you,
Frost.
Mr. Frost, on the filling that swimming pool in, and Counselor Valdez. You know, there's very little swimming opportunities, especially when one of our pools goes down. And that pool is just an amazing facility, and to see it filled in for parking to me I don't like that idea either at all. So I think we really need to think about it seriously before we make that move. There's a lot of money invested in that swimming pool. The dressing rooms are very nice. You know, I like it myself. I think it's amazing. One thing that the city could consider doing is they could consider leasing it to a group of people that want to swim privately, and just lease the pool out and let them run it however they want to run it. That's something that they could consider doing. And that way we don't have to worry about lifeguards and such and the liability on our part. It's something that would be very interesting, because I know there's a lot of women that do laps daily, and I'm sure if they all got together, they would love to have this pool open to them, especially privately leased out from the city, and using it to its full potential.
If I may chime in, this is Maria Sandoval, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Go right ahead, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It was considered before in regards to reopening the pool back in early 2000s. And unfortunately, back then, the amount of money that it would take, or at that particular time frame, to open it, consider it now being 2020, if anybody wants to take on it, really, they would be pretty much amazed as to how much they will spend on trying to open it up. I mean, it is unreal. But definitely, and you're right, it is a beautiful facility, and to go to waste, unfortunately, the vision was not seen as to, maintaining it. And so at least for me, my goal is to save Ranchitos. Honestly, it is also another beautiful facility, and we can't let it go to waste either, as we did that one. But if there are other ideas as to, and obviously I'm putting my foot forward to try and see how we can open it back up. As far as this one is concerned, the stroke center, that would be great. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chair Martinez, I would like to ask, is it in disrepair? How much would it cost to get it up and running again?
Go ahead, Maria.
You're talking millions. And I mean millions.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Councilor Martinez.
I'll call for the question, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Can we please have a roll call vote?
Chair Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion.
Councilor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
I'm sorry, please repeat what we're voting for.
We will be passing the IC, or approving the ICIP to recommendation to full council for tomorrow.
For the motion.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez,
For the motion, please note that it's only a formality because it's already on the agenda, okay?
yes, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Okay, motion passes. We'll move on to department reports, Community Services Department overview. Mr. Scott Frost, Community Services Department. There.
Thank you, Chairman and Council. I really appreciate it. I would begin by just echoing all of your kudos that you've extended to the senior staff as well as to Gabriela. What a great team the Community Service Department boasts. We haven't mentioned recreation or the library or the parks, but they fit in there as well. It really is a privilege to serve with this group of individuals. There's some very dedicated and talented people, and it's been awesome. So thank you all for that. Um, Overview of the department. Well, obviously we're functioning under, serious restrictions due to COVID-19, but the departments are looking for ways to get around it, to work within it, to get through it. And examples would include the movie night, the drive-in movie night. The library is opening up. I was able to meet with the Friends of the Library board early last week, and what a nice group that is. We've determined that they'll be able to come back in and start selling books. I don't want to get over into Sherry's report, so I'll just leave that alone. But everybody's trying their best and really working hard to provide good community services to the community itself. And I'm very proud of everyone's efforts. It's awesome to work alongside these. I mentioned in my overview a few bullet points. I'll start with those and then circle around back to the needle issue. I did meet with Biara Sosi with regard to the garden that she and her group have planted on the backside of City Hall. They're going to need a little bit of funding help, which I think we can secure from the park project to finish it up. But she walked me through it, and that's really impressive. I mean, what everyone that's had a hand in that should really be proud. It's a nice thing we have going back there. And one of the factors involved in maintaining it is identifying what I grew up calling weeds. That's a weed, that's a weed, that's a weed. And she's saying, no, we don't pull that because it has this use or that use. And it was very educational, and I was appreciative of that. We do have the event coming up the end of this week, dedicating the mural for Mr. Anaya. I hope that all of you can attend. I know that you're all invited. We're planning on doing it as nicely as we can, considering the restrictions. We're going to try and serve some refreshments, and we have a few speakers lined up. Sherry was able to reach out to Mr. Levi Romero. He'll be there, as well as our mayor and nephew to Mr. Anaya. So that'll be a nice little program we're looking forward to. One of the issues that I've been working with Maria and Jeff, the General Services Department, is Ranchitos Park and that back fence area. We've got a lot of transients going through there. They're creating a very negative vibe back there. We do have plans for doing repairs and remodeling to the park. And one of the first things I asked about was the possibility of rebuilding that fence. And it's kind of 50-50. Some people say, well, that might be in phase 2 or phase 3, and we'll build a block wall. So why would we build a fence now? And others are fully in favor of doing whatever we can. But one of the first things that needs to happen is reaching out to Oke Owinge and getting with them and getting permission and hopefully collaboration on cleaning up that lot. I know it was done once a few years back, but it's gotten overgrown again. And so that's a project we'll be working on, is getting that vacant lot cleaned up so it's not a hiding place for individuals. And then interestingly, just out of a clear blue, I received a phone call from the New Mexico Tourism Department last week saying that there might be funding available for anything we have that was unexpected, that would contribute towards getting people into the outdoors if we could produce a bid by Friday. And I asked him, I said, well, would a fence that protects a public park and makes a roadway or a jogging path more accessible be something that you would be interested in? And they said, oh, absolutely. And so, kind of rabbit out of the hat-ish, I was able to get a certified bid from Scott's Fencing in Albuquerque and get that into them. So we don't know if that will produce funding or not, but it was kind of encouraging to me that somebody thought that this was a valid project and maybe we could do it. So that's that's something we'll be working on. It would be really nice if we could reach out to the Pueblo and collaborate with them to clean up the lot. And then on the heels of that project, we were able to put in a new fence. That would be ideal. So that's kind of what we're shooting for there. Before I go on to the issue of the needles, is there any questions that I can answer about the three things I just mentioned or anything else?
Counselors,
Question? Chair?
go right ahead, Counselor Martinez.
Thank you, Chairman Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Scott. I'm just curious, I know you probably send an email and stuff, but could you mention what time the dedication is, please?
Yes, ma'am. Sherry, I don't know if she's going to mention that in her report, but the dedication will take place from 10 to 11 on Friday, the 25th.
Thank you.
Yes, and just FYI, I visited with GSD department and emergency department Jeff Sargent and asked him what's the maximum number of people we could have there under the circumstances, and he said I wouldn't go more than 25. And so Sherry and I talked about it, and we're going to set out 20 chairs, and she gave me the list of the invitees, which included all the council and various ones, and it came out to 18 or 19. So I think we'll be just about perfect. And it's kind of to be expected that not everyone will be able to make it. So we'll be under the 25 for sure, but 10 to 11 on Friday is when the dedication is there. And I do think that Sherry's going to talk about it a little bit more, so we can direct questions to her. Any other questions before I get back to my pet peeve here?
Just that we will be wearing masks, ¿verdad?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, counselors? Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Scott.
Okay, well, when I hired on, one of the first needs I identified was that the Parks Department was working themselves to death. They were actually short-staffed that first week I got here, and I asked our supervisor, Ben, how can I help you? And one of the things that he suggested was, doing walkthroughs at the plaza, from the Bond House down to the Misión Convento. And so I've been doing that. And it has come to my attention that there is a plague. And I know I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. I fully grasp that, but there is a plague of needles. We had an incident a week ago, which I wanted to talk to everyone on this committee about. Apparently on Facebook, somebody got on board and really had some negative comments to make about needles in that area of town. I would counter that with every single day myself and the Parks Department goes through Monday through Friday, and we pick up needles, and I do it myself every day, and I'll pick up 4 or 5 needles every day. We're not staffed on Saturday or Sunday, and there was a renewal of valves ceremony that took place in the gazebo. It didn't run through the community services department. The gazebo wasn't reserved. We didn't know anything about this. If we had of, I could have sent somebody there to, maybe prep it up a little bit in the morning prior to the event, but we weren't aware of it. And so the person who said all those bad things about the park had attended that event, and I'm sure they were accurate. It was true, but we were kind of caught unawares about the event. So we don't have staff on Saturday or Sunday. Every Monday morning, including this Monday morning, I went down there, and there's just needles everywhere. And so I want to make that a priority. And I would like to meet with individuals who have been dealing with this for a while, so that, one, I'm not spinning my tires and reinventing things that have already been tried and didn't work. With this committee's blessing, I'd like to maybe reach out to our chief of police, to the race department, to various ones who've been dealing with this issue longer than I have, and see if we can come up with a game plan. One thing that perturbs me as I pick up, this morning I went down and I picked up 11. Now, some of them were older. I got up into the fountains and I walked through where the water normally flows, and in the sinks of those fountains, I picked up some that were older that have just floated to the surface with recent rain or whatever. But I picked up 11 used needles, and this is after I was there every day last week. My concern is, where are these coming from? And what I understand is it's something that's provided here in town, and it's supposed to be a 1-for-1 exchange, and that's not happening. So that might be one area where we reach out is to the organization that's handing out the needles and say, you know, guys, I understand. I totally get why they're doing what they're doing, but maybe we could reinforce our efforts to make it a 1-for-1 thing, because it's just not fair to the rest of the town that, you know, our kids can't play in the park. I think about my baby wandering through the grass when she was a little girl, and everything she picked up, she went to her mouth. And just the thought of her picking up a needle and putting it in her mouth is what sends me down there every morning with my trash picker upper. It's just a really dire circumstance. And so I would appreciate comments, help, suggestions. Please know that I'm very aware of it. I want to do something about it. I'm trying, but I don't know what to do.
If I may, sir, I think you're on the right path as far as getting with our chief and with other people that have been here. That way, again, like you say, you're not spinning your wheels and trying something that they've already tried that didn't work. So I think you're down the right path. And trust me, I think I can speak for everybody here when we say we feel your frustration when it comes to this, because I think we've all been dealing with this and saying, how can we change it? How can we stop it or prevent it or clean it up, you know, once and for all. So we're with you on this. I think it's just, how do we get it done? And hopefully we can all come up with some sort of solution to help you on that. Councilor Martinez, would you like to chime in, ma'am?
Sure. You know, I've had a lot of concern about this area, and I've shared some concerns with some members of the Public Safety Committee, because I've had people reach out to me. Nana Becky Trujillo, I don't know if any of you know her, but she's a very close friend of mine. She takes her granddaughters every evening to ride their bikes in the Convento area, and she's taken some pictures and send them to me. And I've had other people from the area take some pictures and send them to me with people sleeping in the gazebo, and supposedly somebody up there by the fountain in that general area, making that a crash site. Also, people backed up into the parking area, connecting their stuff there and sleeping in their car in that area. And of course, the drug use and the needles being the biggest concern. So, you know, I think that we need to think about possibly shifting somebody from parks on Saturday and Sunday morning, possibly maybe one weekend each or something, where you let them half a day off on Friday and then let them do a couple of hours on Saturday and Sunday morning, and make sure that we have at least one sweep, because it is a liability if a kid gets a needle. Like you said, kids do tend to pick up things. They're very curious, and if a kid would do that on city property, it becomes a liability. I know that we do have that real big disposal one and receptacle in Valdez Park. I'm wondering if we could install something that's a little bit less obvious at that area. And I wonder if it would get used. How much use are we getting out of the receptacle in the Valdez Park? Do you know, Mr. Frost?
I do, and thank you for mentioning that. It is an issue unto itself. The problem that comes up with the receptacle in Valdez Park for sharps is that it has received so much that the organizations that would typically take away those biohazard materials are bowing out and saying, no, we can't take them. This is according to Mr. Sargent, who was assuming this role before I hired on. He said that they just won't do it. So I'm reaching out to an organization, and that's not an organization. It's a for-profit company. They're called Stericycle. They service the Espanola Hospital. What we'll have to do is pay them to take this away for us. And I'm sure that the hospital will give me red bags. I'm certain that I have the training to transfer the stuff from the sharps container to red bags, get it up to the hospital. But we're going to have to pay by the pound for biohazard waste disposal. And that's just what we're going to have to do. One person suggested to me that all of the syringes in that one particular receptacle that you mentioned aren't all from IV drug users, that somebody who was perhaps a diabetic or several diabetics have taken advantage of using that, and they filled it with just diabetic needles. Either case, what we now have is a sharps container stuffed full and no one who will take it, at least pro bono. I'm going to have to get it emptied out and pay Stericycle to take it away. So as soon as we get that done, it will continue to be available. And I think we'll just need to kind of budget for that in the future going forward, because it is of value. It certainly is. I don't go to Valdez Park or Ranchitos on a regular basis with my little picker upper. I've made the plaza my territory, but in the times that I have gone to those other places, I carry my picker upper with me, and I found needles in both of those locations as well. So
Wow.
it's a valid thing to have. As far as your question about putting something like it, but perhaps not as obvious in the Misión Convento area, I fully support that. But we just need to do it, go into it knowing that it's going to be an expense, but it is a part of the solution. And I'm looking into how we can get another one out there. I think you're right. One thing that happens, you mentioned in your comment people crashing at the plaza. Just this morning, in one of the little nooks around behind the upper fountain, as I was going through on my rounds, I walk across and there's a guy sitting there. And I mean, I didn't look all that closely because he startled me and I didn't want to get into a beef with him, but it looked like he was shooting up. And that was at 10 o'clock this morning. And when he left, I went over and he hadn't left anything behind, thankfully, but I think it's because I saw him, which kind of clued me into another thought. Maybe more of a presence there would also help. I don't want to be putting my, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do agree with you. I think that we need to make that a priority for the PD as far as a regular patrol. And the other thing I think that we need to do is we need to light it up. Especially there's some dark areas. As soon as the sun goes down, it's a little bit dark. And I do think that young man is making his place there in that spot where you probably found him, because that's the area that my friend described that guy as being constantly. So I think it's something that we just need to make sure that we stay on top of, that officers get out of their vehicle and actually walk around and just be a presence, so that it's not so easily taken advantage of as somewhere where they can just squat. That's such a beautiful place and it's such an asset to the community. It would be a shame if it was taken over by homeless or by drug addicts, especially now that the shelter is available and there's areas for them to actually go to. Like, I think we just need to step up our game. I'm going to throw something radical out for all of you. And has any other community ever considered making it illegal, completely illegal, to throw a needle in a public area and run people's DNA on needles just to have them in case, so we'll know who's doing this and we can charge them with that, because that's a really big hazard when you think about what can happen to a child or even to an adult. Let's say that I'm walking over there in a sandal and I don't see something and I step wrong and the needle goes through my sole of my sandal or whatever. It could be a life-altering experience for anybody to be poked by a needle like that. And I'm really concerned about this situation. I know that other people from other communities have talked about why they don't like to come to Valdez Park here in Espanola because of the needles and things like this. So it's something that I think is identifying our whole community. And I don't know if it's something that we could do to make it illegal to throw a needle in a park like that. If it would help at all, if we would be able to catch anybody that ever did it. But I just feel like we need to do something.
Counselor, thank you so much for saying that. As I walk through the park every morning, that is exactly what I was just going to suggest. I don't know that our law enforcement would be able to do that, but if the law was on the books, is something I've thought about. If it was there where you could really get, in a pinch for doing this, because what I picture in my mind is the drug is injected, now they're feeling high and they flick away this needle like a cigarette butt without a care in the world. And if law enforcement knows they could arrest them, but nothing's going to happen, then they're kind of demotivated too. But if there was a law where this was going to be a serious deal, I believe that it's if even if it doesn't have a great deal of effect, it's definitely a step in the right direction, and it sends the message that we are serious about stopping this. So thank you so much for mentioning that. When you said those words, I was grinning from ear to ear because I thought the very same thing.
Well, I think it's something that we should look at. I'll try and do some research and see if there's anything that any other community is doing about this situation. And the reason I mentioned that is because, Denver had this really big problem in downtown Denver where a lot of people were urinating all over downtown Denver in the area that was like set up for tourism. So they had this situation where these homeless people would just go urinate on the wall and they didn't care. And they couldn't figure out how to stop it. And finally, they made a law, they made an ordinance that states that anybody that urinates or does anything like that in public is going to be considered a sex offender because of how you're exposing yourself. So as soon as they did that law, that whole problem stopped. So the homeless people got the message. Do you know what I mean? So in my view, it might not be like something that is that enforceable, but at least it's something that's on the books and it's something. It's better than not having anything, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more. So at this point, what I've noted down is the possibility of rescheduling parks workers to include weekends, the idea of lighting up these areas in a greater degree, greater police enforcement, the possibility of making it more severe or a greater crime to flick these needles out. All of these things are great steps in the right direction, and I will use next month to investigate, and next time we meet, I'll have some more information for you all as to what I found out about enforcing all of these things. And I will be meeting with our police department, Mr. Jimenez, as soon as possible, and ask him what he thinks about it, get his opinion, because
I'm sure he's in tune with the concern because the person that I called that was on the committee shared the concerns, and they did do a few more rounds through there. But at the same time, I really feel like if it was a regular patrol where the officer actually got down and walked through maybe twice a evening or 3 times a evening, I think it would benefit not having that kind of, it would deter the behavior a little bit, I would hope.
How about,
absolutely, yeah.
excuse me, sorry to chime in here, but what if we were to also add signage, something to plaza is closed after a certain time, no trespassing after this particular time? Would that give a little bit more teeth to our police officers if they see someone there at 2:00 in the morning, let's just say, to be able to just get them out of there?
I think it's time to consider putting wrought iron all around that whole area. I really do. It would be a big investment, but I think it would benefit the Comento and take care of it and protect it. And I think your idea is a great idea as far as having a curfew for public properties. I I do see people playing Pokemon Go there a lot. I'm actually surprised at times, and I know that there's some kind of really good Pokemon hidden there because all of a sudden you'll see 20 or 25 cars parked around the convento or parked around the bond house, and I'll be like, I wonder what's going on here. And everybody's walking and following their phone, so you know it's Pokemon Go. Or they might be looking for rocks, like you said, Manny. I don't know, but I do know that there are people out there at all hours, and I think that's a great idea to put a curfew on public properties of 10 o'clock, and that way anybody that's found in that area after that time is trespassing.
I know that I believe that when prisoners that are already in either incarcerated or on their way to be incarcerated even spat upon a police officer, that can be charged with a crime for that. I can't see any difference than if a person would poke themselves with one of these needles. You don't know what you might land up with. Let's just say what disease you might land up with. I can't see how that couldn't be construed as a crime as well. So I'm pretty sure there's got to be something on the books that we can use to format some sort of a law for ourselves in this city and see if we can do something about it. I was also thinking, now that we're while you guys were speaking, to see if there's anything the Pathway Shelter can do as people start to go through their facility, and encouraging them, telling them, if you're going to come through our community, you cannot be doing this. And that could be one of the things, or maybe even part of some stuff could be just community service. Maybe if they have to pick up their own stuff, they might be less likely to throw it again. Something like that.
Ooh, I like that idea.
I agree with you, Chairman Martinez.
Because I do have to say, now that we've been looking for rocks, we've been doing a lot of driving around town, and it is amazing how much needles there has been that I've seen myself in the plaza area, in different areas, not even just with the plaza, but even just the fence lines. You see a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
And also trash. And I'm really surprised at how much. And I just think that, even if these people are caught and not put, of course, put to jail might be way over the top. But man, if you have to do 20 hours of community service picking up needles all day long, it might deter you from doing it again. Something like that. That's what I'm just thinking. Not just, of course, needles, but trash as well. And it might in turn help us keep our community clean at the same time. But I do like your idea on we have to have our police officers regular patrols at the plaza, regular patrols at Valdez Park, or any of the public properties that we have to make sure it's kept clean.
And I like the idea of making sure that we shut down things at 10 o'clock. I know the councilor, Dennis Tim Salazar's District 1, he and I sat in somebody's living room during the campaign, and they were concerned about the skate park and the traffic and the noise that was coming from there. Even at 2 a.m, he said that there was still a lot of action out there that he could hear from his bedroom. So I think these are all things that we need to consider, just making it a little bit more strict with the times that public properties are available to people.
I agree. Anything else, councilors?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Right ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just had a question for Mr. Frost in reference to all this. I know you talked about getting together with our chief of police, but have you spoke with Judge Steven Salazar about the potential of his community service workers helping with needles, even more so for weed control and, trash control and so on, to be able to possibly involve them? That may be an idea. I don't know how detailed they are in, working with that, but with needles, if at all possible, maybe that could be another avenue as well.
Thank you. I have not yet. It's on my to-do list. One thing that concerned me a little bit, and I need to do some research on it. A needle is considered obviously a hazard And is a community service worker going to be put in harm's way if we tell them to pick up needles? I don't know the laws on that. I like the idea of it being punitive, whereas if you're caught throwing a needle, your punishment is going to be picking up needles. That really chimes well with me. As far as the straight up community service workers and definitely the weeds, obviously, yes, we should be using them more for that. And the short answer to your question is no, I haven't, but I soon will. And I will also look into the other aspect of using them as in helping control this pandemic of needles that we suffer from. I really like the idea, but I need to find out if we would get ourselves, if we are opening a window of liability by telling them you need to pick up needles, because that might be the case. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's a good question brought forward. Possibly our legal department could maybe give a little bit more information as to what we can and cannot do. But yeah, if at all possible, just please keep us informed about that. And I think with that said, just all of us as a group, just, continue to look for ways to be able to see how proactive we can be in battling this continuous issue. And I know our community is not the only community. There's several communities that are dealing with this, but I think like Councilor Peggy Martinez mentioned as well, maybe we could get some ideas from other communities that maybe they do have something going. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Valdez?
Yes, I agree with everything you guys have said. And I was also thinking that maybe if we have like a motto, or just spread the word to the drug users, because the drug users, it's an addiction that they have. It's a problem. They have families, little brothers and little sisters, and maybe if we just put it out there like a slogan, I'm just thinking anything, toss no mas, and they wouldn't, just get the word to them that it's a danger for children and for other adults when they throw those needles out. Maybe reach them through their heart, explaining to them that what if their child picks one up and something tragic happens to them. So we can maybe have I don't know, like a program or a slogan or something to reach out to them. And I think they could probably understand and be more careful. And on the point about the trash, it really irks me. Every morning I drive through the Ranchitos Road by the North McCurdy exit, and every day there is trash out there, couches, toilets, I mean, just big items. And it really upsets me that people would go there and dump it. So I really loved the idea. I think, Chairman, you said that if they're caught dumping the trash, they have to pick up the trash citywide.
Yep.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further questions or comments for Mr. Frost? Okay, go ahead, continue, sir.
That was really all I had. I appreciate those comments so much. I was taking notes, and I know that Sherry is taking even better notes because I can't read my own writing, but I was writing fervently as all these suggestions came up, and there were some really good ideas thrown out there. So thank you, everyone. I will, at next month's meeting, have a summary of this and some ideas, and I will give you an update of what I found out with regard to things like the legal issue of using community service workers to pick up needles, as regards to the chief of police and his idea about stiffer laws. And I just really liked that idea about if a person gets caught throwing a needle, their punishment maybe isn't going to jail, but is going to be picking up needles. So many good suggestions. Thank you all. It was exactly what I was hoping for. And that's all I have.
Thank
I
you,
have
sir.
one final comment, Chair Martinez.
Go right ahead, Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. One of the other things that I thought about while everybody else was chiming in was have you contacted, Mr. Frost, have you contacted the NMDOH to see if there's an availability of getting any help from them with disposing of those needles?
I have not, but I'm in very close contact with the Taos office of NMDOH and the manager up there. So I will reach out to him and ask him what might be available for us in this community. It was also like reaching out to the judge. It was on my to-do list. It's one that I haven't yet done. I kind of wanted to vet this with this committee first and see what everyone was doing. Again, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. If somebody prior to me had reached out to DOH and it didn't work because of this reason, then I didn't want to spin my wheels. But hearing all of these comments, now I've got some really good direction, and I appreciate that.
Awesome. Okay, great. We look forward to some resolve.
Yes,
Thank you all.
sir. Okay, we'll move on to number 4, Espanola Public Library, with Ms. Sherry Aragon.
Good evening, committee chair and everybody else. This evening, I'm going to tell you about, I think Scott already talked about it already too, of the dedication of the Rodolfo Anaya mural that's outside of the library wall. Today, the GSD department placed a frame around it. So it's got a really nice frame on it right now. And we're going to have Levi Romero, who's a poet and assistant professor at UNM, do a reading. We're also going to have the artist Maya Pena come over and join us on that day also. So I think it's actually going to be a really good and a good turnout. Like Scott said, we're going to have, everybody has to wear their masks and social distancing. But it's at this Friday, September 25th at 10 a.m. and it'll probably last about an hour. So we're going to be placing chairs and everything out there, and hopefully we can get some, a few refreshments going there also. As for September, the library is still doing the grab and go crafts for both children and adults. And we also received a $2,000 grant from the Rio Arriba County Census Outreach Program for helping with the census and having people come in, and we, help them do the census as they're coming into the library if they haven't filled it out yet. September was also library card sign up month. So those of you who do not have a Espanola Public Library card, come on in and we can sign you up for one and you will get a free bag. The staff is still working really hard, and there's like about 21 programs that they have running right now in the library. We're halfway through the month, so they still have some more crafts that they're giving out this week and next week also. And they're also working for more for next month. On our library statistics, we're still kind of slow right now. Compared to last year, we had, total circulations of 4,000 library material items that went out. And this month for August, we only had 795. But that's, we're still moving along and just trying to get people in here and there on the library tours and programs. Last year we had 64 programs. This year we have 163, but that's because there's the grab and go crafts that are going out. Sometimes there's like 2, 3, 4 a day. So there's a lot of crafts and there's a lot of people coming in to pick up those. Our Wi-Fi users, we're down to 2 users so far. That's people that actually come into the library to use the Wi-Fi. And about, 1,000 people come in this far, so far this month. Last year was about 3,000 people. And then again, you can see our revenue, it was 876 plus change last year compared to the $211 for this month also, for August. But we're still working on that. And again, a lot of our revenue came from the mayor's room when we were renting that out on the interlibrary loan. We were also charging for that of getting books from other libraries. We've stopped that because we're not getting, the state library is not allowing us to bring any books in right now. We're still doing the, masks, social distancing, and, having people answer the questions and doing the questionnaire. And so far, it seems to be working really well for us. And I think we're doing pretty good, with, thank you to Scott for helping us out, and, Dora for when she was interim for moving us along and keeping us going for the time that we were closed, and just kind of doing everything that we needed to get done. But I think that's about it. Any questions?
I have one question.
Go right ahead,
Yes.
Councilor Martinez.
Thank you, Chairman Martinez. Sherry, first of all, thank you for your commitment to the community, and all your staff for being the essential service worker that they are, and providing the library and all that that entails to our community. The question that I have is, do you have a thermometer that takes people's temperature when they go in, like a thermometer gun that would take
Yes,
a
we-
person's temperature before they go into our library?
Yes, we do. We have our limited time of, we take, we ask the people the questions, have you been out of the state 14 days? Have you had a cough, fever? And then we take their temperature and we ask them specifically what they're in the library to do, whether it's checking out books, looking for videos, or faxing, making copies, or using the computer. Computer right now is limited to half an hour use. If there's somebody that really needs to, and they're filling out applications, or they're doing, like the census, and it's taking them a little bit longer,
Mhm,
we'll let them stay on to about 45 minutes.
mhm.
But once that's done, then the computers get wiped down and sanitized.
The only other question that I have deals with, are you gathering information on people as they go in, just in case somebody comes back as positive and they contact trace back to the Espanola Public Library on a certain day as a certain time? Would you guys be able to say, okay, there were these many people here on that day, and these were the people
Yes.
that were here, and this is how you get a hold of them? Would we be able to do
Yes.
that?
Yes, we
Okay,
actually
great.
take the names of the people that are coming in, and we have them sign a paper, and we get their phone numbers. So that way, everybody that comes in, like for today, is saved. Everybody that comes in for tomorrow is saved. So we
Okay,
have the
great.
whole month saved.
Okay, great. It sounds like you guys are doing an excellent job. And like I said, we certainly appreciate all your hard work, Sherry.
Thank you, Counselor.
Councilor, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis.
Nothing at this time. Just want to thank Sherry and her staff for the continuous hard work day in and day out. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Councilor Valdez.
I have nothing at this time. I'm glad to hear of all the precautions you're taking temperatures, names and numbers, wiping down the computers. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just want to say, I hope all of you can come to our mural event on Friday. We'd love to see you and have you here.
RSVP, I will be there.
All right. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Ms. Sherry. Wonderful job you and your staff are doing. Keep it up. Thank you guys so much. We'll move
Thank you,
on.
Chairman.
We'll move on to number 5, Lucero Center Recreation Facility. Ms. Maria Sandoval.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. Let's see. As far as the monthly revenue for this, pretty much for last month, obviously it does reflect that we're definitely not there compared to last year being 5,000 and this year being just 1,000. So you can tell the difference there. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. Our patron count has been increasing here and there. I do have a fall special. And what that means is that they take advantage of getting a reduced $5 rate, whether it's to swim or to do to use a fitness facility. Not necessarily for the basketball court because it's only $1.50, so that it really doesn't apply there. We're still having our showers not in use at this particular juncture. which it's most of the swimmers are pretty much understandable about that, and including the people who use the weight room facility. I do know that hopefully, not hopefully, but next month, the fitness class will definitely start. And yes, they will be pre-screened before they come in. A total of either 7 to 8 people. That includes myself as the instructor. Starts Tuesday, Thursdays from 6 to 7. Water aerobics, hopefully if we get the instructor that used to be the instructor prior to COVID, if she's willing to come back, that would be great. And the same thing with swimming classes as well. We're definitely, and thank you, Scott, for mentioning as far as the Ranchitos Park, as well as the Penny Roybal. Definitely, I do have to give kudos to GSD. GSD is doing incredibly great and hard work around Ranchitos at this point. The electrician was able to get the lights going at the Penny Roybal. And so if you ever go there around 9ish or 9:30ish, sometimes when I'm there in order to turn off the water, because as if you did know or did not know, the pool has to be somewhat filled with water so that the pool shell does not crack. And especially now that it's, brand new as far as renovated. So I go there sometimes 3 to 4 nights. And of course, 9 o'clock in the evening, it's not necessarily conducive to being safe out there. But if you ever go around there, and if you catch me in there, come in with me. It is really beautiful to be in there while the lights are on. It's truly amazing. And I know that right now the birds are taking advantage of it. To say they're not drinking the water, that's a good thing because it's got a tarp over it. But just to see the different birds at night, it's amazing. It's truly amazing. So I give kudos to GSD for that, and therefore the vandalism has cut down. I want to say at least 25%, more or less. As far as the positions, as for recreation, definitely the aquatics coordinator is one that we would be needing sometime soon. I may get a part-time lifeguard due to the fact that the other lifeguard that I currently do have will be needing to move along as she is taking online courses as a full-time student. So she's really juggling from working with us full-time right now when she's currently basically a part-time. But hopefully that can be eased with the new lifeguard coming on board. Fingers crossed. We do have in October, coming in October, we're trying to have the Friday night movies at the park. And so therefore, somebody had mentioned about a presence. And so if we have a presence there, especially every Friday night, then, that would at least help us out on the vandalism portion per se. The mini Olympics for 2021. Thank you everyone for letting me and the whole community, community services department be part of that whole thing. I have gotten already responses. I've sent letters out to different businesses, schools, and I've gotten some responses, positive responses in regards to that they will be part of it, or somehow they will be part of it. So that's a good thing. for also for the summer camp, I will still continue it with it. And, you know, unfortunately, the grant that I applied for was currently denied. And I think it was because it was kind of sort of short notice. But nevertheless, I'm still moving forward with that, and that will definitely happen. Other than that, you know, right now I know that as far as leagues and or tournaments, they're on hold, and that's okay. It is what it is at this point, and health is first, from what I understand. And that's all for me. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions, Counselor Dennis? Tim Salazar, Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions at all at this time. Thank you, Maria, for the thorough report.
Thank you, sir.
Counselor Valdez?
I have a question. Maria, did you say that you have movies at the park? Can you tell me a little bit more on that?
Yes, I'm actually collaborating with Project Race in order to have movies at the park. I believe they have all of that equipment in order to do those particular items. And again, it's more like in regards to being October and it's Halloween, or you know, the issue, you know, behind Halloween. So it'll be every Friday night, Friday evenings. And, you know, we're starting, hopefully we'll start down here at Valdez Park, and then we move over to Ranchitos or here at Veterans. I definitely will not venture over at the Sportsplex due to gum chewing or any of that nature. That wouldn't be feasible there, but definitely the other three.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Counselor Martinez?
Two things that come to mind. One, I did get a call from a constituent telling me that they do swim laps and that the pool was very cold. Do you have any idea if there was a time when it was colder than normal, or what was going on with that?
Oh,
Ms.
thank you
Lydia?
for mentioning that item. I have been in touch with, let's see, the GSD director, Mr. Jeff Sargent, regarding that same issue. I do swim myself, and I know I get really cold myself as well. And so, believe it or not, he kind of was not necessarily understanding in regards to why the air temperature and the water temperature, you know, were not the same. And so I had to finally tell him, look, via the CPO course, which is called the Certified Pool Operator course that I just retook, it states that the air temperature must be 2 to 5 degrees higher than the water temperature. This particular pool does not have the room temperature being heated by any other source other than the water itself. So right now the water temperature is at 81, and the air temperature is equal to that. So of course, when you get out of the pool, or even when you're in the pool, you're freezing because it does not match. It's not supposed to match. So therefore, we're waiting on this gentleman who installed the HVAC to see what is happening. Why is the HVAC not it's sucking up most of the air? Let's put it that way. And so the pool temperature is at where it's supposed to be. It's the air temperature that makes it colder.
Okay, so hopefully we can get some resolve on that.
Most definitely. I know that, like I said, I'm working with Jeff Sargent in order for it to be, you know, expedited sooner than later, now that the cold weather is coming up.
Okay, Maria, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, counselors?
None.
Thank you. And thank you again, Ms. Sandoval. Thank you for all you and your staff are doing. I know this is a difficult time, especially with when it comes to the sports. I'm sure this is a very difficult time for that. So thank you for all that you're doing to keep it going.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll move on to number 6, the Beatrice Martinez Senior Center updates with Ms. Dora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. I want to say thank you again for those of you who attended the movie. It was a pretty good success, and also for the comments on all the good things that you hear about the senior center. I will surely convey that to the staff. Frankie works very hard and is very proud of his cooking, so he does very well. And maybe one of you guys can come and join us for a lunch or a breakfast one of these days as well. The food is very good. We have also gotten a lot of comments from our patrons, and they were pretty sad when we had to close for those 3 days when we had to fix the plumbing. But nonetheless, we are still trucking along. Our revenue is slowly climbing. It's good to know that because of the COVID, we have not dropped too much in sales. We are actually getting a lot of people coming in, and that's because of the cooking and the taste of the food. So we're happy to hear that everybody's enjoying it. And of course, always put out the word of mouth to the rest of the community that it's not just for seniors who can come and purchase a meal. So let everybody know that everybody is welcome to come and eat. We will be probably showing another movie this Friday. We are thinking of Hocus Pocus. A lot of people like that. So again, you guys come and join us that evening. The kids are excited to continue with that there. We still don't have any activity with the AA renting the space there at the stroke center. They are still keeping it on the low because of the COVID issues. Mesa to Mesa comes once in a while. They are out there helping the community as well for those who need the help as far as they're paying their utilities and cleaning their yard or fixing any issues with their homes. The Family Learning Center as well has given us kudos to, again, another year of helping them serve the breakfast and the lunches to the kids. They are very happy. We will start the classes of Zumba again this week. They started actually this evening. There is a limit to her participants, and she is keeping them, they're 6 feet apart. And so we will be kind of popping in on that and making sure that they are following the regulations that they should be issued by the governor. And that's about it. I just want to say thank you, Scott, for coming in and taking over the community service position. I was interim for almost a year, and I'm here to do whatever it takes to keep the city going and helping the community as much as we can, and to keeping them occupied as well, due to all the issues that we're having with the COVID, people staying in, and of course the schools trying to educate our kids nowadays as well. Thank you, counselors, for all your support as well too. Without you guys, we couldn't keep this city afloat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dora.
Mhm.
Any questions, counselors? Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim?
Nothing at all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dora.
You're welcome.
Councilor Valdez?
I have a question. Ms. Terrazas,
Yes.
how are you advertising for this movie night?
Ms. Graviela has actually made some flyers, and she is actually putting an ad in the Daily Post of Los Alamos for this next round. She missed the last round, but word of mouth, it's basically most of it, and the kids are putting it on their Facebook and to friends, no, and all of us that we can, any media that we can get it into.
Gracias.
Mhm.
Counselor Martinez?
Sure. Chairman Martinez, possibly your connections at KDC, maybe they could do a coffee break this week and really promote that drive-in movie. That's such a great nostalgic way of doing things from back in the day. And it just seems like something that I would want to turn the youth onto here in the community. So possibly getting some announcements going on there. And then, of course, mention it at our full council. The only comment I have is, thank you, Scott Frost, Dora Terrazas, and Sherry and Maria for your commitment, your can-do, will-do attitude. I love that. It just makes me excited about what's to come, and just problem solving and thinking about ways to solve situations and to move this community forward and out of some bad situations that we're experiencing currently. So I just really appreciate everybody. I appreciate my fellow community service members for attending and for all the comments that were provided. I think it was a very positive meeting. I thank you, Chairman Martinez. I really feel like this committee is doing a good job. The staff is doing a good job, and I'm just very appreciative of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Martinez. I couldn't agree with you more. I think this is a very positive meeting, and I hope that all our meetings, even full council meetings, continue this way. It's great to see the staff, like you said, it's a can do, will do. They don't stop, they don't back down, and they keep it positive, even on a note when it comes to needles in the community. They can still keep it positive and trying to find solutions, and that's what we got to do, find solutions and move this city forward and continue to make it a safe, wonderful community that we all grew up in. You stated that, like, when it came to this movies, let me tell you, it did bring a lot of memories back of going to the Starlighter this weekend. I was ready to go see if I was going to pull someone out of my trunk, just out of habit, I guess. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and
Well, we're gonna have to put you in the trunk, Councilor Martinez, on the next movie and see if we don't sneak you in and see how that goes.
hey, I
remember
got
that
snuck
day.
in like that. I got snuck in many times like that to the movies. Let me tell you.
Hey, Didi, I think Councilor Martinez owes your family some money. Just saying.
I was gonna say my uncle Valentin Leiva used to own the Starlighter Drive-In, but all I can hope for is that, Manny, you spent your money on the hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yes, I did. Anybody that knows me would know I would. Trust me.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys so much. And I believe our next meeting is October 19th, 2020. Please, I know it just comes up on us, but if anybody does have an issue with that date between now and till they send out the announcement, please contact Dora or, of course, Mr. Frost, and let us know if we need to change that at all. Other than that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I don't think we need to vote for that. So we'll see everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you. Bye.
night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.